They called it a guild, but it was more like a cult. You logged in for loot, but stayed for the fear of being kicked out. Today we're digging deep into the dark heart of MMO communities, the guilds, the cliques, the ego-stacked hierarchies that turn group play into a power trip. Welcome back to MMO Madness Behind the Troll Mask. I'm your host, Boss Mode, here to peel back the curtain on MMO culture, where alliances are forged, betrayals are plotted, and sometimes your so-called friends will ninja loot you and vanish like a rogue with max stealth. Today we're diving into the social jungle of online gaming, guilds, cliques, and power plays. Because whether you call it a guild, a clan, a free company, or a crew, the second you get people together in a game, the politics start. And if you've been in MMOs long enough, you've seen some stuff. When you first join a guild, everything feels shiny. People greet you in chat. You get invited to dungeons. Somebody gives you free potions, and you think, wow, these folks are awesome. But here's the thing. A guild's honeymoon phase is a lot like a new MMO expansion. Fun for the first few weeks, then the cracks start showing. There's the power gamer, obsessed with optimization, tracking DPS like a Wall Street analyst. The social butterfly, logging in mostly to gossip, not grind. And the phantom leader, the GM who's never actually online but still makes the big calls. Oh, and let's not forget the drama bomb. One awkward loot roll away from turning the guild chat into a courtroom drama. The bigger a guild gets, the more it turns into a miniature government, complete with alliances, backroom deals, and the occasional coup. I once saw a guild in World of Warcraft split in half because the GM gave a legendary weapon to his girlfriend over the top performing member. Within a week, half of the members defected to form a breakaway guild. They even took the guild bank gold with them. It's not just WoW. In Final Fantasy XIV, I heard of a free company leader who implemented an attendance policy. Miss 3 weekly events, you're out. That sounds strict, right? Turns out he was padding attendance members to get himself priority in in-game content queues. This comes in from Shadowfox, and no, that's not their real MMO handle. Shadowfox joined a high-tier raid guild in Elder Scrolls Online. The guild leader ran things like a military boot camp. Every raid had mandatory voice comms, attendance was tracked in spreadsheets, and mistakes meant public shaming. One night, a healer missed a cleanse. The GM screamed into the comms, "You're benched. Go farm mats for the guild until you learn the mechanics." Half of the raid team quit that night. The GM called them traitors in zone chat, and then got permabanned for harassment 2 days later. Moral of the story, even in MMOs, dictatorships don't end well. Here's one from Lyria, a longtime EverQuest player. Lyria was once the leader of a mid-sized guild, solid, active, friendly. Then she burned out, stopped logging in for weeks, officers started bickering, events fell apart. By the time she came back, her guild was a ghost town. She thought it was over. But instead of giving up, she reached out to the few remaining members. She merged with a smaller guild, rebuilt event schedules, and focused on the fun. A year later, that guild is one of the biggest social hubs on the server. Sometimes leadership isn't about being perfect. It's about owning your mistakes and coming back stronger. Hey, cliques aren't always bad. Sometimes they're just friend groups within a larger guild. But when those cliques start gatekeeping content or excluding people, that's when the toxicity spreads. In Guild War 2s, I saw a group of elite PvP players formed their own inner circle. They'd only run with each other, leaving everyone else feeling like second-class citizens. Eventually, people stopped showing up for guild events altogether, and the clique was left playing alone. The irony? They disbanded because they got bored. This one was submitted by Tanklord and BDO. Tanklord joined a friendly trading guild. The leader gave him temporary guild bank access to deposit trade goods for an event. The next day, the guild woke up to find everything gone. Not just the trade goods, the gold, the crafting mats, rare mounts, poof. Turns out Tanklord's friend in the guild used his login while he was offline to drain the bank. And since the guild leader had given him access, there was nothing the GMs could do. Lesson learned? In MMOs, trust is like durability on gear. Once it's gone, it's hard to get back. If you've been burned by guild drama, here are some survival tips. Know your role. Are you there for hardcore raiding or casual hangs? Pick a guild that matches your play style. Avoid the loot drama. If a guild's loot system isn't transparent, run. Keep receipts. Screenshots save friendships and sometimes get toxic players removed. Find your crew. Whether it's a big guild or a small group of friends, loyalty matters more than numbers. Because at the end of the day, guilds are like gear. Some fit perfectly, others just look good until you actually try to use them. Here are a couple of submissions we had from last week. The Fallen Leader returns. This one is from Elder Whisper. Their guild leader in Elder Scrolls Online was power hungry, loot obsessed, and eventually kicked from the guild after alienating basically everyone. Months later, the guy came back humbled, broke, and guildless. Instead of shunning him, Elder Whisper invited him into a small casual guild where loot was shared evenly and raids were chilled. Over time, the guy admitted his past mistakes and even started mentoring new players. Sometimes even the worst trolls can spec into support. Here's another submission, the raid slot sabotage. This one comes from Mana Maggot. They were in a progression guild in Final Fantasy XIV where raid slots were precious. One member, let's call him Greg, decided he wanted a permanent spot. So before each raid night, he'd accidentally misdirect key instructions to certain players in whispers. Pull too early here, stand in the wrong spot there, boom. DPS tanks the parse. Greg looks amazing in comparison and the raid leader promotes. It took 2 weeks before anyone figured it out, and when they did, Greg was insta-banned from the free company. Apparently he tried the same trick in another guild and got wrecked in public chat. Got a grief story or redemption arc worth sharing? Hit me up at behindthetrollmask@gmail.com. I'll be reading a few of your takes in the next episode. Oh, and please be sure to like, share, and hit the follow button. Boss mode out. And now, a word from our sponsor.
Subscribe now to MMO Madness, Behind the Troll Mask, sponsored by Boss Mode Fashion, because even if your DPS is trash, your outfit doesn't have to be. Find your next respawn-ready outfit at bossmodefashion.com.